Check this out.
Geeking Out with Joe Capitana. Geeking Out and The Geek Speak Show are powered by Collider.com, GeekTyrant.com, GameTyrant.co, Mightyville.com, RamaScreen.com, and Zergnet.com. Here's Joe.
On! Sorry, I couldn't resist. But anyways, yeah, we are counting down to E3 2013, where the big story will be next-gen consoles, specifically the Xbox One, which has been blowing up news feeds left and right. A little bit more about the Xbox One. It will sit horizontally for functional and aesthetic purposes, of course. And we got the controller's got two new buttons. We got menu and view, and it will be region locked. So apparently, you won't be able to play your Xbox in different countries. Interesting. Anyways, E3 2013 is June 11 to 13 at the LA Convention Center. But while we're talking tech, in geek toy news, Samsung will be launching the new S4 Mini on June 20 in London. Samsung is keeping the details about it on the low, but it is reported to have a 4.3-inch screen and a 1.6 gigahertz processor and 8-megapixel camera, and not to mention a lower price tag. Some crazy science news. By using really hot lasers, scientists have found a way to transform cement into a liquid metal, and this is of course very geeky cool because it could lead to cheaper TVs, cheaper computer monitors, and maybe even cheaper next-gen consoles, and maybe even smartphones. But just saying, because the Xbox One and PS4 aren't looking that pricey. But now for some lighter news, Tom Hardy, aka Bane, isn't scary at all. In fact, he granted a sick fan's wish through a British chat show. Bane visited a young cancer-stricken mother and bought her a diamond necklace. It totally made her day, and she said that Tom Hardy was so lovely and down to earth. Oh, Baney Box, you shouldn't have. Now, let's talk movies. Fast and Furious 6 debuted in the top for the Memorial Day weekend. Vin Diesel and his team Avengers were followed by The Hangover 3 and third Star Trek Into Darkness. Iron Man 3, by the way, has already hit the $1 billion mark in worldwide sales, making it the 5th highest grossing film of all time. So keep those summer blockbusters rolling. Summertime. Talking about swag, Jamie Foxx is enjoying being the bad guy. That is, if you don't know, now you know. Fox is playing Electro in The Amazing Spider-Man 2, but on the World Wide Web, Electro's getting a lot of that vicious internet flack for looking too much like Mr. Freeze and Batman and Robin. So I suggest you find the memes before the memes find you. Anyways, Amazing Spider-Man 2 geeks out May 2014. In other Marvel Phase 2 news, director Joss Whedon has no intention of dropping Scarlet Witch or Quicksilver from the team lineup in Avengers 2. This, despite a different Quicksilver will be in Bryan Singer's X-Men Days of Futures Past, but just for reference, Fox owns the overall rights to X-Men, and that includes Mutants and Magneto, so we'll see how that goes. In Star Wars news, a new book called Star Wars Storyboards of the prequel trilogy is now on sale, and it gives an alternate look at what episodes 1, 2, and 3 could have been like. Some interesting discoveries. Qui-Gon Jinn was supposed to be a younger dude with a mohawk, and Darth Maul was supposed to be a chick, and Jar Jar Binks was supposed to be far less annoying. Again, Star Wars Storyboards, the prequel trilogy is on sale now. Go buy it, Rachel, wherever you are. Talk about muscle cars because Rachel drives a muscle car. Transformers 4 has begun filming. The new cast includes Mark Wahlberg, Kelsey Grammer, Sophia Myles, and Lee Bing. No Vin Diesel in this movie, sadly, but more exciting are the photos of the two new Autobots featured in the film, but in car form. The first is a C7 Corvette Stingray based on the 2014 prototype, and the second is the 1200 horsepower Bugatti Grand Sport Petite. So for all the Transformers fans and Ace Hood fans out there, hey, win-win. I woke up in a brand new Bugatti. Wow. Did somebody say Whoopi Goldberg? Because Whoopi Goldberg is going to be in the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. Her role is a bit of a surprise, but not as much of a surprise to me as Megan Fox's casting as April O'Neil. But yeah, who could Whoopi be? She can't be Splinter. She can't be Shredder. Krang, maybe? I don't know. We'll just have to wait till June 2014 to find out. For James Bond fans, Sam Mendes will return to direct Bond 24. After all that talk about him being too busy. But when you're responsible for the highest grossing James Bond film of all time, how do you say Dr. No? Get it? Get it? Likewise, Daniel Craig will be returning as the blonde-haired 007, and the script is already being written by John Logan. In TV news, there are new Arrested Development episodes now exclusively out on Netflix, if you didn't know. And I just want to give a geek out shout out to Disney XD's Marvel's Avengers Assemble. It's a few episodes in, and it's pretty decent in this reporter's opinion. It's a very good follow-up to Earth's Mightiest Heroes, and check out your local listings for your times, true believers. Lastly, this weekend, June 1st and 2nd, is the Latino Comics Expo at the Cartoon Art Museum in San Francisco. So for all the fans of El Gato, the Human Fly, or Miles Morales, definitely check that out, because that's going to be a fiesta and a quinceañera combined, but with comic books. It's like $7, but you can get 2 días or 2 days for $10. So that concludes this installment of Geeking Out with Joel. If you have anything you think I forgot or you'd like me to mention or give a Geek Out shout out to, my email is joel@geekspeakshow.com, or you can follow me on Twitter at joeljapatana. Until next time, guys and cools, I declare this meeting society closed.
Welcome to the Geek Speak Show.
People who get it, get it.
This is the Geek Speak Show.
Interviews with the movers and shakers in geek culture.
This is Mark Zickery, writer, producer, and director of Space Command.
Hey, this is Todd McFarlane, creator of Spawn, and one of the original founders of Image Comics.
Hi, I'm Chris Hardwick.
Geek is spoken here.
They're listening. You're consuming. You're watching with your ears. Oh, you just listen.
The Geek Speak Show is powered by GeekTyrant.com, GameTyrant.com, MightyVille.com, RamaScreen.com, and ZergNet.com.
Please make a note of it.
Here are the hosts of the Geek Speak Show, Joel Japatana and Mark Doris.
Hey guys, it's the Geek Speak Show, and this week is a different episode because our normal characters, or hosts, or shall you say, aren't here. In studio is Joel Japatana, and I'm talking to Mark Doris. Mark Doris is our new guest, or our new comics commentator. But today he's my co-host, and if it sounds ad-lib today, like it already does, that's because it totally is. Say what's up, Mark.
Hey guys, glad to be here, branching out a little bit from the comics commentary. Glad to do the co-hosting.
Yes, and we'll talk more to Mark about finding more about Mark later on today.
Finding Mark. We should do the Finding Mark segment. That would be good.
Yeah, no, we should definitely should, GPS style. But today is a great show. And how did I say it was going to be a great show? Because it really is going to be a great show. And luckily, right now we have a first guest. We're just going to jump right into it. We're talking to Rob Zimmerman, director of Eyeball, a visionary short film. Say what's up, Rob.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Hey, pretty good. We're just, couple guys hanging out and talking guy stuff and some some movies.
Excellent.
How you been, Rob?
Well, we're a little crazy right now. We're in pre-production for Eyeball, and we're also running the Kickstarter campaign so that we can pay for the damn thing. And that is pretty much taking a great deal of time. It's a good thing. I mean, it's a quality problem because, quite honestly, we're very excited about Eyeball.
It's a passion, man. It's a passion. You gotta. I feel like with everyone's passion, you definitely have to be patient. And,
true. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, Rob, why don't you go ahead and just start by telling us a little bit about the film that you guys are currently working on?
Eyeball.
Yeah, my wife and I were taking a walk in the park one day, and I don't even remember how it got started. But we started talking about this idea that the whole world was getting more and more sucked into their iPads and their iPhones and iPods and all that good stuff. And we started talking about the idea of having just something that people would squeeze, and that would hook them into the internet. And that kind of morphed into a longer conversation. We started coming up with some ideas. And my wife, who's done a lot of writing, she's a travel blogger and a photographer and a musician in her own right.
Can we plug in your
wrote
wife's
her
name?
first script. Yes, it's Nadia.
Nadia.
I
Nadia's
stumbled there because her full name is Nadjezda, but it took me about a year and a half to learn how to say it right. So I pretty much stick
You're a
with
good
Nadia.
husband, Rob. You're a good husband, man.
I do try. But she wrote this wonderful script that encapsulated all these ideas and then built it around a love story. And the essence of the story is we have our two lovers meet and they get together and they fall in love and all that good stuff. And then they're pulled apart by this consumer technology that ends up seducing one of them and leaving the other one kind of in the dust. So the one who's left in the dust is left with the decision of, do I leave her behind or do I become part of this larger thing, this eyeball?
Is this a little semi-autobiographical?
Well, we have our days. I mean, I like my iPad as much as the next guy, but not entirely. Not entirely. And it's funny because we met over the internet, so there's a certain irony in us tackling this project.
Irony.
But our realities are becoming shaped more and more by these things, and by the experience that we have through them, and how we experience the world through them, rather than through direct contact with each other, with the outside world, the loss of appreciation for the sensual part of life, the part that you cannot get in a screen.
So do you personally think there's like an over-reliance on technology?
Well, I think that's a tricky question, because I think that technology, when it's used as a tool, is fabulous. No question about it. Modern world couldn't exist without it. But when technology starts to become a replacement for experiencing things as humans, rather than as avatars, if you will, then I think we're starting to run into a problem.
Now, this piece of technology that you're talking about, the eyeball is a technology. When you're describing it as something that you squeeze with your hand, I imagine like a stress ball, and then boom, it sends you into the internet. Is that right, or am I off a little?
No, you are spot on. And we are giving the gag away a little bit, but we want people to be intrigued so that they will go to the Kickstarter.com site, look up Eyeball, and hopefully give us some support.
I like that plug that you did right there.
Did you like that?
Yeah.
I can repeat, Kickstarter.com, look up Eyeball. We actually come up first on the list, so it's easy to find us.
Hey, good stuff. So,
but yes, you're actually spot on. And once people start squeezing the eyeball, they basically lose interest in anything else.
No, it sounds like my relationship. You have no idea how many times I get in trouble by my girlfriend when I'm on my phone or I'm on my my tablet or anything like that. Trust me, I totally know what you're talking about.
I'm better in text than I am in person. I don't know if it's a writer's dilemma or just a generation. What are we? Generation X or millennial kids? I don't know where we are these days.
I think you're millennials.
Yeah.
I'm afraid I'm pre-Generation X, but you guys are definitely millennials.
Do I sound like that because I talk like this?
No, not at all. But and I was actually thinking about that today, about how all of this got started. When I was much younger, my father was in kind of investments, and new ideas would cross his desk and stuff like that. And one day he brought home the original, it was a prototype of the original game of Pong.
Oh, cool.
And that was the first home video game console. And I was thinking about how...
That's so old. What is that?
Yeah, right? I mean, it was literally two lines on a screen and a ball going back and forth.
It's better than a lava lamp.
Well, well, it depends on what you're doing with the lava lamp and who you're with. But
again, we don't advocate
story.
what we do on the show. We just say it works for some people.
Absolutely. And a couple of good stereo speakers will help you out with all of that.
Some Pink Floyd.
But but I was thinking about how we started with this really simple, almost moronic video game, and how that simple video screen has now so completely become part of not just our daily lives, but almost every moment of our lives.
Oh yeah. I mean, like, it's like we're living in an internet revolution time right now, where it's like everything's changed. Everything's on the internet. We're seeing old businesses die out. I mean, this is where I get a little bit more philosophical and deep, but we definitely just notice the times are changing, and that's just me getting off topic. But
No, Robert.
Well, it actually kind of is, because we poke fun of that in our pitch video, and we talk about the one thing that is definitely about that is we talk about the Chinese releasing a cranial chip that is now available for sale, and get yours today. Yeah, that's in the pitch video. And it's just the pitch video is actually pretty funny. The pitch video is really just us displaying our sense of humor and the slightly strange and bizarre way we're approaching the material.
Again, we're talking to Rob Zimmerman, director of Eyeball, a visionary short film.
Robert, I'm on the Kickstarter page right now, and I'm just kind of browsing through a little bit. It says on the website you guys have had a chance to work together multiple times, the crew. And I was wondering, are a lot of the actors that you guys have in Eyeball, a visionary short film, are they in other earlier projects as well? Like, these are all familiar faces you've had the chance to work with?
Yes, absolutely. If you had a chance to, I think you said you had a chance to take a look at Life of Eric Richards, which was my very first directorial effort. You'll notice that the lead in Eyeball is one of the featured actors from Life of Eric Richards. And I've actually been working with all of the actors in this project for some time, because they're my students as well.
Oh, okay. No,
they're all professional. They're all professional actors, but they all study with me.
Okay, and because you said that you teach at the San Francisco Playhouse, is that right?
It's actually the Beverly Hills Playhouse, and we have a branch in San Francisco.
Okay.
So
now
these are all people who are working professionals, and these are some very, very talented people.
Now, a lot of big names have actually gone through the Playhouse, right? I think, wasn't George Clooney someone who's gone through that avenue, if I'm not mistaken?
Absolutely. George Clooney, Jorge Garcia, Michelle Pfeiffer, Jenna Malone, Giovanni Ribisi, Miguel Ferrer, his son. I mean, it's a very, very long list. Joel Schumacher studied at the Playhouse for years. We're still scratching our head over how he could study at the Playhouse and come up with Batman and Robin, but these things happen.
So basically, what you're saying right now, you're teaching the George Clooney's of the new era. Is that right?
I certainly hope so.
You mentioned Batman and Robin, and just like for me, like I saw the pictures of Electro from the new Amazing Spider-Man 2, and he looks a lot like Mr. Freeze.
Oh, that's unfortunate. I haven't seen that still yet. I'll have to look it up.
Oh, you need to find the memes before the memes find you, because it's all over the internet, man.
Now, Robert, as well, we're looking at the Kickstarter page still, and you have raised $3,090. Actually, it just jumped up $10 from last time I checked, about 15 minutes ago. With 18 days left, do you mind telling us a little bit about what the backers will receive for their pledges of X amount of dollars all the way up until the highest one, which I think it starts at, I mean, you can donate any amount, but $5 all the way up to $2,500 or more?
That is correct. I think our top level as public, what happened to our $5,000 level? We like the $5,000 level. Yeah, I mean, we're keeping it pretty simple. We've got the usual goodies, the DVDs, the posters. We're adding eyeball wallpaper with the characters that you see in the pitch video. And the wallpaper normally wouldn't be too exciting, but the fact of the matter is we've got two very interesting virtual characters that are in Eyeball. One of them is called Ad Girl, and the other one's called Newsboy. And they really just appear as projections, and they never actually appear as three-dimensional characters. But they add a lot to the ambience of the film. And quite honestly, the actors playing these two parts are so wonderfully strange that we think the wallpaper is going to be pretty cool. We have some great ideas about that. And, as it goes up, you get an eyeball hat, It'll be a black hat with the eyeball logo. We thought about distributing the actual eyeballs, but that turned out to be a little bit more of a logistical nightmare than we wanted to get into.
Promotional
But we'll
tools,
also
man.
have-
Promotional tools are.
It's tricky. It's tricky because you
It sucks because you have to.
You got to deliver it.
And it also sucks
Sorry?
because, like, you have to pay money just for the promotional tools, and then they cost money, and then a lot of fans, they don't realize, how much it really costs, and then they're just like, hey, give me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And
That's just
we
the
hope
business
that when
perspective.
people see that this is definitely an offbeat project. This is not something that fits easily in some preconceived niche. So we're hoping that the combination of the goodies and the concept will appeal to people. The one I particularly like is the $2,500. I'm just looking at it again myself. $2,500. I will actually bake you a pizza.
Yeah.
Or make you a pizza. And
Wait, that's
send you
real?
one.
Because
And I gotta tell you
I
honestly.
thought you were joking about that, but that's real.
No, that's real. Because quite honestly, my pizzas are damn good.
You can wash your hands too, right,
These
Rob?
I will wash my hands, but I do it all
Aw,
from
man.
scratch. I make my own marinara. I make my own crust. I do everything, and it's all organic.
And it says that you'll ship it anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Maybe we can get Eat24 to support that a little bit. With
Hey, nice plug right there.
Zing. Okay.
Again, we're talking to Robert Zimmerman, director of Eyeball, a visionary short film and legendary pizza maker.
Soon to be
Robert-
legendary pizza maker, I
Robert
hope.
Tony Zimmerman.
When do we hope to have Eyeball, a visionary short film completed? When is that set to wrap up?
Well, we're actually in very heavy pre-production right now, as I mentioned before, and we're going in front of the cameras in about 2 weeks. Our first shoot day is June 15.
Okay.
We'll shoot the last 3 weekends of June, and I'm expecting to, I would like to say that we're going to be wrapped on post-production by September 1, but experience tells me it's probably going to be closer to October 1. What we're really trying to do is we're aiming to be completed in time for the last late submission deadline for Sundance, which is the end of September.
For a short film, like how long lengthwise are you guys shooting for?
Well, you never know until you get into the editing bay, but at this point the script's running about 18, 19 pages, so I'm expecting us to come in at around probably about 15, 16 minutes.
Oh, nice. Oh, yeah. I do want to mention one thing. What was it like? If you donate, was it at the $2,500 level where you become like an executive producer?
We'll write you
and
a
then-
part.
There you go.
Absolutely.
And they write you a part. So if you're a struggling actor or you're just have free time and you have money, you can you get a part in Eyeball.
Absolutely.
That's
And one of the other cool premiums that we have, we decided that people are interested in the process of filmmaking. Some people are a little interested or not at all, but some people are quite interested. So in an ascending set of levels, we offer people access to the process as we're going along. So if you donate at a particular level, you'll have access to the rough cuts as soon as we do. We're going to be doing feeds from the set even as we're shooting.
Oh.
There's going to be an opportunity if people are genuinely interested and want to give us their support to really follow what we're doing and see the process almost step by step.
Okay, so then when it's finished, where can we find it?
Well, obviously we'll be online at some point, but we have high hopes. We think we've got a strong concept. We know we've got a strong cast and crew. And if we execute the way that pre-production indicates we will execute, which is going to be at a hopefully very high level, we hope that this thing can go all the way. And we're positioning ourselves in a way so that can possibly happen.
You're gross, Rob.
I
Why
don't
would
wanna-
you
I don't
want to go
wanna- I
all the
don't
way
wanna
with a
use the
movie?
Yeah, I don't want to use any of the trademarked words, but we actually found that there's a loophole in how you can get onto the consideration list.
Are we allowed
So
to
we
talk
budgeted-
about this loophole, or?
You think I'm going to share it? Hell no.
Well, I don't know. Maybe our listeners get like a little bonus for listening to our interview.
Okay, fair enough. You know what? I will. I'm excited to be on the show, and I'll give you guys.
There
I'll
you
give
go.
You guys a little bit of an insight there. there actually is a loophole for short films to get into Oscar consideration. And I won't make it completely easy for people. I hope you'll forgive me there. But if you just go to the website for the Oscars and look up the rules for the short film, you'll see what I'm talking about.
All right.
Suspense builds.
See, I'm glad that someone else makes sound effects and says stupid stuff. I was about to say a 4-letter word, but I won't say it.
Well, when you grow up in the Twilight Zone, it's hard not to make sounds every once in a while.
Was that your show back in the day, Rob?
Oh, absolutely. Could not get enough of Twilight Zone.
For me, I always think of the legendary episode where the helicopter crashed and people died, and it was like the Twilight Zone within the Twilight Zone.
Yeah, that was unfortunate, especially since it involved. Anybody being involved, it would have been tragic. But Vic Morrow was just finally getting his career back, and he was a very fine actor. And one of my first rules with my actors, whether it's in class or on set or what have you, is safety first. I don't care how good your movie is; it's not worth dying over. And so
I was about to say, tell that to Jackie Chan.
Seriously, right?
That guy...
Actually, Brandon Lee was a classmate of mine when I was studying down in L.A. Yeah.
I don't know if we're allowed to talk about Brandon Lee for a couple minutes because everyone loves Brandon Lee.
Well, exactly. He was exactly as he purported to be and came across in the media. This was a good guy. And we were crushed.
Did you hear about the whole
when that happened?
Did you hear about the whole Crow reboot that they want to do?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Remarkably unexcited. I think that's right up. I think that's right up there with remaking Fahrenheit 451. It's what's the point?
Definitely. I feel like every movie for some reason gets rebooted, even though the first one did a good job. And
yes, well, to tell you the truth, if it doesn't come out of a comic book, Hollywood is just out of new ideas. That's a real problem for them.
Well, do you think we're living in an age where like everything that could be done has already been done, and then you got to like dig deep, like really, really deep, or you got to reboot something to make something semi-original, I guess?
I got to be honest. I think that's an awesome question. I don't.
It's because
I think that you have to look at filmmaking in the same way that you would look at painting or sculpture or any other art form.
Well, I would even go back as late as theater because, not even theater. I mean, like the classic story of like the Odyssey and Iliad and the Bible. Even it just gets repeated, regurgitated over and over again.
Absolutely, but the form itself will refresh. And that's what keeps people coming back to art.
Spoken like a true teacher. I really like that line. The form will refresh.
It has to, or it'll die. And if it dies, it dies. But most art forms, now have traditions going back, a solid 5,000-6,000 years, including theater, because humans need stories. They've change the way that they consume them, but they need them. They have to have them.
I feel like we need to play some Pink Floyd while we have this conversation.
That's true, and we can start talking about how many dust motes, are actually little planets, and that we are living on just a dust mote. And what's the line from Animal House? And our dust mote could just be like in the.
I don't remember Animal House that much because I was
dimension.
so drunk when I was watching it.
Hey, Robert, I've got a quick question for you. I'm still browsing about on the Kickstarter page, and there's an area that I was curious about. You said that you might be getting you will be getting some participation from film pros within 25 countries for your eyeball film. What exactly do you mean by that? Are they going to be shooting just kind of like scenes, and then they'll be sending it to you to be put together for the film here, or how's that working out?
That's exactly right. And what we're doing is we're making, I don't know how many of these damn eyeballs, something like 75. And 25 of them are going to go out to our contacts around the world, and we're going to have them shoot very short snippets or even stills of people who are in whatever their location is, whether it's Ecuador or Italy or China or what have you. And we're going to get footage of people using these eyeballs. and then we're going to use that as part of the film.
Now, what are the eyeballs supposed to be made out of?
I
Are
don't
you
want
just
to give away the climax on that one. What's that?
what are the eyeballs supposed to be made out of?
Supposed to be. They are made of.
Well, like what is the actual thing made? I'm sure I don't want to reveal too much about what it'll be made of in the movie, but what is it? What is the prop itself going to be made out of?
Trade secret, I'm afraid.
Okay,
I don't
all
want to give that
right,
away.
And on
It'll
that
sound-
note,
honestly, Mark, it'll sound so completely ridiculous, but it looks good. It looks really good. It's one of those little bits of movie magic that it's like, no, let's not give that one away.
All right, fair enough. No worries.
yeah, and on that note, I do want to say we are kind of pressed for time. I got my producers giving me the whole eyeball. And so yeah, we're talking to Rob Zimmerman, director of Eyeball, a visionary short film, and it gives you a good glimpse of relationships and technology. Anything? Any last words you would like to say, Rob, before we cut it?
Well, yeah, I actually have 3 words: Kickstarter.com. Please come join us. Come play. Come be an eyeballer.
Oh yes, Kickstarter.com, and then you type in eyeball. Eyeball is the first thing that shows up.
Yeah, and be sure to check
and
out
we
The
are
Life
the
of
first
Eric
thing
Richards
to
on Vimeo. It's one of Rob Zimmerman's first films. It's very funny, so definitely give that a look.
Oh, I like that.
Yes, please. That one's just plain fun.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I really enjoyed watching that last night.
Let's say that one more time, because I feel like it didn't come out as clear. Mark, you want to take it?
Yeah, for sure. Check out on Vimeo.com The Life of Eric Richards. It was one of Robert Zimmerman's first films, and it's pretty entertaining, very funny stuff. Definitely a good view. It's about 5 minutes long, so give it a check out.
That's what she said. But, I don't know. I
Listen,
couldn't.
you guys have been great. I appreciate the opportunity to come on, and hopefully when we get closer to release, we'll have a chance to visit it again.
Yeah, that'd be great.
No, Rob. Thanks for talking to us, man. Good guy. You are welcome.
Fabulous.
Fabulous. No, you're definitely welcome on the show anytime, Rob. Cool.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm always here. I just here on my eyeball.
All right, Rob. Thanks again for stopping in with us. We appreciate it.
Comics Commentary with Mark Dorris on The Geek Speak Show.
Sad news for Green Lantern fans as Jeff Johns has announced that he's wrapping things up with issue number 20, which is the story arc regarding Green Lantern's Wrath of the First Lantern. Not to worry though, folks, the story's going to continue on with issue 21 that'll be coming out this week with Robert Venditti and artist Billy Tan, where they pick up where Johns left off, which will be hitting stores actually on June 5th. Venditti has been teasing regarding the continuation picking up from where Johns left with Ain't It Cool News, saying that they're taking a lot of risks with the directions they are going at this point, yet they're kind of keeping it a little bit concealed right now what those risks would be, but he said they've got a lot of cool things to come, including a teaser he left with MTV Geek saying that they tie together every lantern of every color that has ever appeared in any comic book ever. Now, upcoming here in a little bit, we'll be talking about our book club, but one thing that I'm really excited about is the Dexter franchise is partnering up with Marvel. Author Jeff Lindsay of the original books in which the show is based off of are working with Marvel to release a Dexter comic book that'll be hitting stores in July of this year. So I'm really excited about that. Personally, I've been reading the books myself. I believe there's 6 out right now. The first one came out in 2004, and then the last novel I think was 2011, and we're getting I believe the 7th and final Dexter book in 2013. But for me, the comic book I'm really excited about. It's going to be a 5-part story arc written by Jeff Lindsay. He's going to be basically focusing on Dexter has a high school reunion, and within that high school reunion, one of his former classmates has a secret that could destroy Dexter Morgan. Now, for those that don't know, the comic book and the novels, the 6, will be 7 later on this year, are separate of the TV show. But if you guys are huge fans of Dexter, that'll be something that you guys can read and pick up on for now, and then until the TV show picks back up with Showtime for, I believe it's 8th and final season. With DC releases for this week, we've got The Phantom Stranger Volume 1, A Stranger Among Us, Batman Noir, the Eduardo Risso Deluxe Edition, Red Hood and the Outlaws Annual number 1, Superboy Volume 2, Extraction, Injustice, Gods Among Us number 5, which is the comic book that's based on the video game of the same name, Batman the Dark Knight Annual number 1, the New Teen Titans Omnibus Volume 3, absolute top 10, Justice League of America number 4, Adventures of Superman number 1, Watchmen Deluxe Edition, which a little pricey at around $40. I'm really excited for this though, just because I'm a big fan of Watchmen and Dave Gibbons and Alan Moore's 1980s rendition of these classic characters that have turned into the movie by Zack Snyder and all that stuff, which you already know. But anything by Watchmen, I'm always interested in. You guys should give it a look-see. It's good stuff. Smallville season 11 special number 1, Catwoman annual number 1, Earth 2 annual number 1. In the Marvel area, we've got X-Men number 1, Captain Universe, the hero who could be you, number 1, Morbius, a living vampire, number 5, Savage Wolverine number 5, Uncanny X-Force number 5, New Avengers number 6, Captain America number 7, Indestructible Hulk number 8, Fury Max number 12, Gambit number 13, Avenging Spider-Man number 21, which I'm looking forward to myself as well, Wolverine and the X-Men number 30, Venom number 35, Dark Avengers number 190, and Iron Man at 258.4. The last and final thing that I wanted to bring about was the releases that Marvel has on their Marvel Unlimited subscription service, rather. If you guys aren't familiar, the Marvel Unlimited service is a $10 a month, or I believe a $60 a year subscription that you can do, where you have access to roughly 13,000 digital issues from Golden Age, Silver Age, Modern Age comics. In addition to that, they have been saying that they're adding new issues every week, and a lot of the new comics, those are going to be introduced to Marvel Unlimited roughly about 6 months after they're hitting store shelves. So regarding Marvel Unlimited, we've got Astonishing X-Men Annual number 1, which came out in 2012. I believe we've got the Fantastic Four number 1, All New X-Men number 2, Avengers plus X-Men number 2, Thor God of Thunder number 2, Ultimate Comics Iron Man number 2, Gambit number 6, Venom number 27.1, Secret Avengers number 34 rather, New Avengers number 34, Indestructible Hulk number 1, Wolverine and the X-Men at number 21, Uncanny X-Force number 34, Wolverine number 316, and Venom number 27, as well as their prior issues that were released. So a lot of stuff coming out for Marvel, a lot of stuff coming out for DC, great stuff on Marvel Unlimited as well. So we got a lot of stuff that you guys can get your hands on and check out. Now that's it for the comics commentary. Thank you for joining us. Tune in next week where we talk about everything else that's going to be amazing that you guys can buy. Good talk, guys.
Hi, I'm Chris Hardwick from Things, and you're listening to the Geek Speak Show.
If you were listening to last week's episode, we need to talk Star Wars versus Star Trek, because we need to talk about who you guys voted as the better movie franchise. Or was it movie franchise, or was it overall franchise, or series? Yeah. So, yeah, if you guys are listening out there, last week we talked about Star Wars versus Star Trek, both J.J. Abrams worlds now, so, or galaxies, or universes. And yeah, so we are supposed to announce who is the better franchise. And in true Ryan Seacrest fashion, we're just going to keep building the suspense and the suspense and the suspense, and we'll never tell you. No, I'm kidding. Who wants to take it? You want to take it, Mark?
I can share it a little bit.
I feel like I've been talking too much.
Yeah, you always talk too much. So, so we
let's
found
talk about this later, Mark.
So we found that through listener votes and things like that Star Wars has taken over the reins of being the better franchise.
Sorry.
Now, as much as I love Star Trek, I kind of felt it was kind of an obvious choice for me, at least. I mean, I'm 24 years old. I got a chance to kind of grow with Star Wars a little bit more.
You're just a little kid, man. What do you know about Star Trek?
Star Trek was a little bit, at least a series with William Shatner, was a little behind my time a little there.
It's a little dated, yeah.
But it's still good. But I mean, come on, they've got lightsabers, man. Lightsabers, Millennium Falcon, Death Star. I mean, that's really all that you need to be number one over Star Trek in that sense, I think.
No, for me, I mean, I like Star Trek myself. It's more philosophical. It isn't, because Star Wars is out there. They say at the beginning, it's a galaxy far, far away. So it's like, that's their own philosophy. They got their own, I don't want to say religion, but they got the whole, like, the Force thing. Yeah. You never hear anything about the Force from Star Trek. It's just like, that's just like our proposed, like, that's Earth, and in the future, that's who we are. We have, I mean, for me, it kind of reminds me of two things: Starship Troopers and Futurama, because those are two relevant worlds or universes that Star Trek could eventually become. But when you discover so much of space, eventually, because Star Trek is more about exploration. It's we're getting deep in there, deep in there,
and like not I was gonna say, not to mention that, I mean, even though that Star Trek series is a little bit older, I just wanted to say that I feel the J.J. Abrams Star Trek universe, I mean, those are really good movies. They're entertaining, and I know there's some fanboys that'll probably tear me apart for this, but I mean, I really got a lot of enjoyment out of the movies. But I mean, aside from that fact, those movies were the most exciting piece of like Star Trek
ever.
Yeah. And then
bro.
when we had episode 1, 2, and 3 for Star Wars, which were, I mean, let's be honest, we all have our thoughts on how that went, but I feel like Star Trek were a better couple of movies over those 3. But the original
No, you're right. Star Trek 1 and 2 are amazing. I mean, I'm not even a Star Trek fan, but dude, when I watched the movies, it caught me in. I loved how Star Trek, no more origin, no more like, who is Kirk, who's Spock. It just like straight up, hey, they're on the Enterprise, mission 1, and then it just goes right into it. The recent Star Wars movies, episodes 1, 2, and 3. I will say, I mean, shoot, honestly, were there any fans out there who liked it? Like, I felt it's not special effects when you use it all the time.
Right.
That's just me, though. That's just me.
I agree. And I think Rachel kind of was on the same sense as well with that. But I mean, she's a diehard Star Wars fan, so of course that's where her heart was, no matter what. So she'll be excited to be talking about this. But the last thing that I kind of wanted to say is that
she's gonna kill us.
Oh, she's gonna just go on. Yeah. The thing about Star Trek and Star Wars, like one of the bigger differences for me as someone who enjoys both sci-fi franchises, is that I feel like Star Trek, with the series anyway, every single episode is like a new story, if you will. Whereas Star Wars episode 1 through 6, like it's one long continuous story, a continuous conflict that has a resolution. Like the movies are based on one story with a bunch of little side stories in between. But I feel like with Star Trek, it's like, okay, it's great. They're going out, they're checking things out, they're traveling, and then they're, finding a problem on this planet or in this nebula or in this universe, whatever. And then they, overcome it. That's not to say I don't like Star Trek and I don't want to downplay it. I think they're great, but I just think Star Wars has a lot more to offer as far as like aesthetically, visually, and emotionally.
I mean, I guess me and you are on opposite poles of the metaphorical spectrum. But I mean, I'm more Star Trek, even though like I'm very unbiased. Just recently, at least, I'm gonna talk about our generation's Star Trek, Star Wars experience, because I'm in my late 20s. I'm still young. But what I'm saying is pretty much like Star Trek, it gives you that whole like exploration. Like it's about exploring, learning new things. Star Wars is about philosophy, not philosophy, because I feel Star Trek was more about philosophy also, but Star Wars was definitely more about like, like the story about Anakin Skywalker and, the cycle of becoming Darth Vader, and then eventually good takes over, and the Force is balanced. It's a lot about balance, and there's some feng shui stuff. I mean, but yeah, I mean, we'll let Rachel and Henry talk more about that next week, and then the week after, and then the week after, and the week after, because I'm sure they can just
from now on. It's all about how Star Wars is better than Star Trek.
They could go on and on and on and on and on and.
We'll just give Rachel her own podcast, and then she can just sit there and talk about how great Star Wars is every episode. I don't think she would mind at all doing that.
I think she would mind about you saying that about her.
Sorry, Rachel. Don't yell. Yeah. I'm sorry.
So yeah, that is according to the listeners or our audience's votes, Star Wars wins the debate between Star Wars or Star Trek. Obviously, I'm not so into it, but Mark thinks opposite, and he thinks that Star Wars definitely wins, and I think Star Trek. But
they cheated.
Henry just busted into the studio, and Henry obviously thinks that.
Henry, he's throwing me under the bus. He's going to make the listeners hate me.
And yeah, so let's call it from there. If you guys have any more things that you want to talk about, if you guys want to send us some hate mail or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, email Joel at the Geek Speak Show. Send him all of your hate mail. Joel at the Geek Speak Show.
But
yeah, anything you want to comment on goes there. Hate mail goes to Joel.
I actually do like hate mail, so. All right, so that's that.
It's time for the Geek Speak Show Book Club. Our books
Or graphic novels.
tell us what your favorites are.
Books at thegeekspeakshow.com.
I'm telling you, they cheated. Yes, I'm here. Joel's been doing the show. He's here. He's actually picking his non-book again for this week. Mark's here also. So my book is just coincidentally Star Wars: The New Jedi Order. Yeah, I know they won. Parentheses, they won. Star Wars: The New Jedi Order. Dark Tide 1 Onslaught by Michael Stackpole. This is, it's actually the beginning of a series of, I think it was four books that came out. Rachel would know if she was here to cheat again about Star Wars. But it's basically, it talks about, when is it? After Return of the Jedi. Doesn't have nothing to do with the Thrawn legacy, none of that stuff. It just, it talks about the New Jedi Order. That's why it's called that. I'm not going to get into too many details. You guys go out there and read it, except if you're Joel, of course. It does introduce the Dreadnought class ships to Star Wars, which, I mentioned that 3 weeks ago, that when we first got the trailer for Into Darkness, I thought it was a Dreadnought class ship. That's where I got it from. So that's my book, Star Wars: The New Jedi Order, Dark Tide 1 Onslaught. Mark, hope you don't do just comics. You actually do read the books, right?
I do read books, absolutely.
I like him already. See, that's why he's commentating on comics. So what do you have for a book this week?
So actually what I've got, something that I'm currently reading, Darkly Dreaming Dexter, which is the book that the TV show on Showtime, Dexter, was based off of. Now there's 6 books that are out there right now, 7 in total, which the 7th one will be released in 2013, written by author Jeff Lindsay. Darkly Dreaming Dexter is somewhat like the first season of the Dexter on Showtime series, and then the rest of the books are their own kind of universe, and the TV show is its own separate thing. But I've got all the books in the series. I'm finally able to sit down and read them, so it's really, really good, especially since we're kind of waiting for the next and final season of Dexter. So I'm really excited to be finally sitting down and reading. It's really good. You guys should give it a try. Really good stuff.
The next and final season. Joel, he's still in here. You actually have a book this week?
It's kind of a book.
Yeah, of course, kind of a book. Here, we got to do a Kickstarter because we are only down to one microphone this week in the studio. So, we're going to start a Kickstarter. You guys send us, 10 cents and we'll get a microphone or something. But in the meantime, we're going to share. I don't like you that much. Doesn't mean we're engaged. But Joel, here, take my microphone and tell us what your book is.
10 cents from 1 million viewers is actually a lot of money, Henry. Okay, so this week, my choice for the book club it's a graphic novel. Henry's looking at me weird. It's the New Avengers Volume 1 Breakout.
It's not because it's your book, though.
And, yeah, that too. No, so, the Breakout it's pretty much the New Avengers. If you are familiar with the New Avengers, it was Brian Michael Bendis' first 6 issues with the New Avengers, and it's a new lineup for the Avengers. I like to bring it up because everyone loves the Avengers now these days, and then we're getting a lot of talk about Electro because Electro is being played by Jamie Foxx in Amazing Spider-Man 2, who kind of looks like Mr. Freeze in the movie. But so Electro, pretty much the story is Electro frees a bunch of prisoners at Rikers Island, and that includes Carnage, and that includes all your favorite, super villains. You got Jigsaw, and then most importantly, it introduces you to the Sentry, and the Sentry was the Marvel's omnipotent superhero who was like, I don't know, Superman, but Superman with, what was it? He was like bipolar or something. But it's a crazy story. Brian Michael Bendis. It is the New Avengers Volume 1, and that is called The Breakout, and you should definitely check it out. Once you read it, you won't be able to drop it, and it might be you might get addicted to it because New Avengers, at least Volume 1, was one of my favorite times in comic book history. Brian Michael Bendis, one of my favorite writers, and check it out because it is a really, really good graphic novel and /book.
Like good potato chips, once you start reading one, you can't read just one. So those are our picks for the book club this week. Yours are in the inbox, books at thegeekspeakshow.com. I'll check it and I'll have some. Maybe I'll pick some of you guys. And we got to start. We haven't talked to an author in a while now that we're on summer break, sort of, for some of us. They also start their book tours, so we may have them on here to talk about some upcoming books. So be on the lookout for that. But let us know what your books are. Books at thegeekspeakshow.com.
That's the Geek Speak Show Book Club. Tell us what your favorite books or graphic novels are. Books at the Geek Speak Show, thegeekspeakshow.com.
That was a remix, by the way. So, Mark, let me ask you first. It was your first time. Was Joel nice to you? Shout out, Joel.
He was good. He was a gentleman's gentleman.
Okay, so I just jumped in at the end. I had some things to take care of, but you guys heard. You guys told them already that Star Wars won the little thing we had last week. Honestly, Rachel will be back next week and we'll talk about it more in detail. But I think it was just honestly a popularity contest, meaning Star Trek Into Darkness. Not everybody was happy with it.
That's what I was saying.
Not everybody was happy with it. And so they decided, you know what, I don't care. Gene Roddenberry himself could have been on there, but I still wouldn't have voted for Star Trek. So thanks a lot, J.J. Abrams. Let's hope you do the same thing for Star Wars in a couple of years. So, yeah. Mark, let's say thank you to you. You're welcome to come back anytime whenever I take a vacation or, Joel needs a break. Yeah, it'll be, the ship is yours. Wait, who is he? Who's number one? Joel, you number one? You number two? Who's what here?
I would be Zulu and he would be Scotty, I guess.
That's an Asian thing, huh? I said he's Zulu. That's just because he's Asian. Anyway, so what else you guys got? Nothing? We're done? Okay, so next week we will come back and speak more geek, but also Rachel will be back. Like I said, we'll go into detail with it. We won't have Rod or Drea back on, but Rachel and I will discuss why Star Wars 1. We'll go into detail. Of course, she's going to be bragging about it. That's just Rachel's way. It's the Jedi way, isn't it? And who's the real Sith here? So we'll do that. We also got a couple of new movies coming out. We're going to have one of the directors or writers on there. I'm not going to say who. There's one big movie coming in June. I think you all know what it is. It's directed by a director who, I know a guy. It's directed by a director who directed a movie that was pretty cool, based on a comic book, a graphic novel, had numbers. Just one number. The sequel's coming out this year to that, and I think you know who I'm talking about now. I also think if you're a big DC Comics fan, there's a big movie coming out for you guys, and it has nothing to do with I'm Batman. It has something to do with the Man of Steel. So we'll talk about that and some other stuff coming up. So, as we say every week, come on back next week, and we'll speak more geek.
Henry and the gang will return next week with an all-new episode. The Geek Speak Show is powered by GeekTyrant.com, MightyVille.com, RamasScreen.com, Zergnet.com, and Collider.com. Make sure you're subscribed on iTunes, follow them on Twitter at Geek Speak Show 1, become a fan on Facebook, and watch event coverage on YouTube/Geek Speak videos. See you next week. Cheerio!
The Geek Speak Show.